6 months with the GEPRC Cinebot30 and I have flown this everywhere. Indoors, outdoors, weaving through gaps, chasing cinematic shots, and of course crashing it into walls. In this review I'm breaking down how it's held up, how it performs on a 6S battery, what the video quality is like, and also some of the downsides that don't always get mentioned. Stick around to the end because I'll be telling you if I still recommend the Cinebot30 in 2025 or if I think that you should be looking for something else. The first thing I want to cover is the build, because with Cinewhoops, durability is everything. The Cinebot30 has the classic ducted design, carbon fibre mainplate, injection moulded ducts and TPU prints in all the right spots. 6 months in, those ducts are definitely showing little battle scars. I've hit railings, I've clipped walls, bounced off the ground, and honestly, they're still in one piece. The frame feels solid, and I haven't had a single arm delaminate or shift. Compared to something like a Pavo 30 or a Beta 95X, the Cinebot feels more premium and more confidence inspiring when you crash. Now it's not perfect. The ducts add weight, and they will stress the motors more if you're running aggressive props, and repairs aren't as quick as with an open prop freestyle rig. But overall, I've been impressed. In fact, the only parts I've swapped were a couple of props and one motor that got noisy after a hard hit, but nothing major. For 6 months of flying, that's solid. Now let's talk about flight performance, because this is where the Cinebot30 really surprised me. Indoors, you can feather the throttle down low and it will hold those beautiful lines perfectly, just for those cinematic shots. It doesn't feel twitchy, jolty, it just feels nice and locked in. On 6S packs, this thing has way more punch than I expected from a Cinewhoop. It's not a freestyle beast like my Nazgul Evoque, but the throttle response is crisp and it can actually carry some speed outdoors without feeling sluggish. The ducts do make it louder, there's no question about that, but it's nothing compared to the Avata or the Avata 2. And Cinewhoops are always a bit shouty anyway, but in terms of control, especially in tight spaces, the Cinebot30 feels predictable and confidence building. I've flown it through hallways, car parks, even narrow stairwells, and it just sticks to where you want it. Outdoors with a bit of open space, you can even throw in some light freestyle, split S, power loops, and it holds up surprisingly well. So when it comes to video quality, the Cinebot30 really does stand out. Out of the box, it's built around the DJI O3 unit, which delivers a crystal clear 1080p live feed to your goggles and up to 4K recording directly on board. And that means you're flying with virtually no latency, and your footage is so sharp and detailed it's just ready for editing. And if you want to push things further, the frame is designed to carry small action cameras like a GoPro, a naked GoPro, Insta360s, or even like the DJI Action series. The flexibility gives you the option dialing in cinematic grade quality on a compact sub 250 platform. In real use, this makes a huge difference. Flying indoors or in lower environments, the O3 holds onto detail very well, so you don't end up with washed out or noisy footage. And outdoors, you get vibrant colour and dynamic range that stands up to pro edit levels. Whether you're filming a wedding walkthrough, real estate tour, or a dynamic chase footage, the Cinebot 30 gives you the confidence that your video will hold up to professional standards. On top of that, you can use real steady with a GoPro or gyroflow with the Cinebot 30's black box logs, and this will allow you to smooth out the shots and make them look like they were captured on a gimbal. Whether you're filming a wedding walkthrough, capturing a cinematic real estate tour, or chasing mountain bikers down a trail, the Cinebot 30 gives you the confidence that your footage will hold up to professional standards. The stabilisation with the O3 air unit combined with the ducted design means you can fly close to people and objects with far less risk, while still maintaining crisp, detailed video. This makes it a tool that can cross over from hobbyist flying into real paid work, content that clients wouldn't hesitate to use in their final edit. And that's a big deal, because not every Cinewhoop can deliver and balance safety, stability, and cinematic image quality. So what about the flight time? On the standard 6S 850 mile packs, I can get around 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how aggressive I'm flying. And if I stick to the smooth and slow cinematic moves, I can stretch it closer to the 6-minute mark. And if you step it up to a 6S 1100 mile pack, you can squeeze a little more endurance, but the trade-off is really the weight, and you do feel it in the throttle response and agility. And also, with a GoPro strapped on, expect the flight time to drop quickly, sometimes down to the 3 to 4 minute range. That's just the reality of a Cinewhoop. Now let's talk downsides. First up, the noise. Cinewhoops are not subtle machines, and the Cinebot 30 is no exception. If you're flying in a park, expect a few curious looks, or annoyed ones. Indoors, you'll notice the echo even more. Second is the ducts. They do their job protecting the props, and they give you the confidence to fly indoors and close to objects. But if you do land or crash in the grass, they will scoop up the dirt, the debris. It's not going to be the end of the world, but you'll end up spending a lot more time cleaning compared to an open propped quad. Heat is another factor. After back-to-back packs, the motors on the O3 air unit both get very warm. I haven't had any failures, but in the summer heat, it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on. And finally, the weight and DIY factor. Compared to something like the DJI O3, the Cinebot 30 isn't plug and play. You'll be dealing with a lot more hobby grade builds, which means there'll be more maintenance, more tuning, and just a bit more tinkering. But the trade-off is the flexibility. You're not locked into a closed ecosystem. You can swap parts out, upgrade components, and really make it your own. So, 6 months later, would I buy the Cinebot 66S in 2025? And honestly, yes I would. If you're after a Cinewhoop that can handle real world abuse, deliver professional looking footage with the DJI O3, and still give you enough punch to fly outdoors, this is one of the strongest options on the market. It's not perfect, flight times aren't amazing, it's louder than you'd like in certain environments, and you do have to live with a bit extra weight, but those trade-offs are balanced out by the performance, reliability, and flexibility. I'd recommend the Cinebot 30 for content creators, FPV pilots who need prop protection, and anyone looking for a reliable performing cinematic flying. If you're purely a freestyle pilot, a 5-inch will always give you more performance, but for cinematic FPV and Cinebot 30 it really does hold up. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, check out my 6-month review on the Nazgul Evoque F5. I'll link it here, and if you've flown the Cinebot 30 yourself, drop the experience in the comments. I'd love to compare the notes and hear how it's working out for you. I'll see you in the next one.